power of your inspiration, your intuition, the voice of your inner guidance system to not only activate and elevate your careers and the work that you're doing here, but to also enhance a greater sense of well-being, enhance a greater sense of inner knowing, enhance a greater sense of inner direction. Would it be nice to do less and attract more? I think so. I think so. And on that vein, I like to create an energy in a room where it feels like we're really contained. So if there's somebody in the back row for me that could shut those back doors so we can feel like we're in this room together. I always have a little back door. Yes, right? You're with me on that. All right, cool. The back doors are being shut. So I've been on this book tour for about 5 months, 4 months now-ish, for this new book, Super Attractor. This is my 7th spiritual self-help book that I've written. I've written 7 books in 8 years. And I'm not saying that to brag, I'm saying that to empower you so that I can teach you today the methods that I have used to be able to create, to inspire, to transform, to be able to live the life beyond my wildest dreams. That is the promise of this talk. I'm going to teach you methods for manifesting a life beyond your wildest dreams. Are you ready for that? Great, I can feel you. So I dedicated this book, Super Attractor, to my son, Oliver. My son just turned 1 in December. It's pretty wild. It took me 3 years to conceive my son. I was really public about my conception journey, the difficulties, the struggles. I spoke about it on Oprah's Super Soul Sessions. I was very public about it. I talked about how I was feeling disconnected, feeling like I wasn't good enough, feeling like my body wasn't working, there was something wrong with me. You know that feeling when you really want something but it's just not happening? You know what I'm talking about. So where do we go? We go to the places of I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, there's something wrong with me. I was stuck in that disturbing pattern for 2.5 years. But it was in the fall of 2017 that I decided to change my mind about it. Wild synchronicities began to show up in my life. Wild synchronicities. They only began to show up when I made the commitment and the devotion to choose to see things differently. So it's the fall of 2017, and I live most of the time in the countryside, very tiny little town. It's unbelievable foliage on the East Coast. This beautiful little town offers me the opportunity to drive with no traffic ever. So I just drive down these gorgeous country roads, and these roads are just epic, epic visions of rolling hills. In the fall, you see orange and pink and yellow and red, the most gorgeous foliage you could possibly imagine. And often when I'm in the car and I'm driving, I listen to my mantra music. I like to tune in. And this is a place where I do a lot of my manifesting because I feel good in those moments, because I'm feeling connected. I'm hearing the voice of my intuition. So this one fall day, I'm driving down this gorgeous country road, and I'm looking to the left, and I'm looking to the right, and I see the beautiful images of all the gorgeous colors and the trees, and everything is just coming to form. And I'm listening to my mantra music, and I'm chanting along, and I'm feeling so good, and so connected, and so alive, and so awake. And in that moment, I'm feeling so in tune with this inner wisdom within me that I hear this intuitive voice say, "Your baby's coming in March." This was loud. Then out of nowhere, I started to feel the sense of a baby in the back seat of the car. I could feel the presence of a child in that car seat, just hanging out, smiling. It was such a strong hit. You know when you get those moments of inspiration and you just can't deny them? You're like, I gotta do that because I felt that, I know that. If you haven't really recognized those moments, that's what you're here for today. I'm gonna help you. Yes. But in that moment, I couldn't deny it. I knew it, I felt it, I heard it. March. My baby's coming in March. So all of a sudden I start doing the math and I'm thinking about, okay, well, if the baby's coming in March, then I have to get all these things done first, and I gotta think about my timeline. And within a split second, I noticed myself going into the planning and the controlling and the projecting. That place is not the energy of what I refer to as a super attractor. So I said, okay, you know what, universe, take this from me. I'm gonna let this go, I'm gonna turn this over. I hear March. If it is indeed March, show me a sign. Show me a sign of lilies. That was just the first thing that came to my mind. Show me a sign of lilies so that I know that I'm on the right track. And sometimes we can have that communication with the universe where we can say, show me direction. A week later, I get this letter in the mail from a reader of mine. The letter had this gorgeous prayer card in the letter. And on the back of the prayer card was a picture of Archangel Gabriel, who is typically depicted holding lilies. He was. On the back of the card, the reader wrote to me, I don't know why, but I felt that you needed this. So I started saying, March, March, my baby's coming in March. I got my sign, my baby's coming in March. I'm feeling it, I'm so connected, I'm so ready. It's been 3 years, here the baby's coming. March rolls around, early March. I wasn't pregnant. I get really depressed by this, I get really taken down, because here I was again with this new expectation, and the interruption of expectation creates radical emotions sometimes. So here I am in this deep discomfort, I'm really upset about it. I walk into my husband's office, I sit on his lap, I'm crying. I thought the universe had my back, I thought the baby was coming in March, it's March, the baby's not here. When all of a sudden, my phone started playing a song. My phone was sitting on his desk, it starts playing a song. And you know those moments when your technology does weird things and you're just like, okay, let me just turn this off, whatever. But I listen closer, and I hear these lyrics. Way go Lily, way go Lily. The lyrics continue to repeat, way go Lily, way go Lily. I look closer. The title of the song is Way Go Lily. The album title is I See the Sign. I had never heard this song before. I didn't have this album downloaded on my Spotify or anywhere on my phone. My phone was locked on the table, but the music played. This form of guidance, this form of direction, this form of universal wisdom is available to us at all times. You with me on that? We have the capacity to tune into that inner wisdom, into that inspiration, to be led by a force beyond our physical sight, to do less, to attract more, to be in the presence of the magnificence and the magnitude of all the support that is available to us. But we forget. We forget that we are super attractors. We forget that we have that power within us to think it and allow it to become into form, to set our intentions for our business and for our sales goals and to see them happen and unfold in front of us because of our inner wisdom leading us. But we block it. We block it. We block it. I want to talk to you about some of the ways that we block it and help you identify yourself in them if that's possible. But anybody out there right now feeling as though you have big dreams and goals, but you're blocking them? People, get real with me. I don't believe any one of you. Every hand, come on. Come on. Every hand, come on. It may not be every area of your life. You may have a lot of success in your career, but maybe you're having blocks in your physical well-being. Or maybe you're having a lot of success in your romantic relationships, but you can't get it together in your career. I don't think anybody in this room can't get it together in their career. I don't think you'd be here if you didn't have that momentum. But we want to create more. We want to attract more. We want to earn more. We want to give more. We want to serve more. We block it. We block what I refer to as our super attractor power. Being a super attractor means that you are devoted to feeling good. Being a super attractor means that you have a belief system, and that belief system is what you create in your life. Being a super attractor means that what you believe, you will receive. So before we begin the journey of tapping into that super attractor power, I want to identify the blocks, help you see the ways that you are in the way. The first block is what I refer to as the manic manifestor. Now, this is the person who's out there thinking, okay, I'm reading all the personal growth books, I'm reading all the sales books, I'm doing all the work, I'm doing my yoga, I'm doing my meditation, I'm setting the intentions, I'm doing all the work, I'm doing all the work, but why am I not manifesting? Anybody a manic manifestor out there? Get real with me, all of you. Maybe you're not all manic manifestors. This is a big one that I think many people will identify with, which is the next one. This is the pusher. This is the person who has the belief system that if I don't do it, no one else will. I hear one, oh, yeah? Who's that? Show me the pushers. This whole front row is a pusher. Okay, pushers in the back. I see you, I see you. I see also many of you hiding from me. All right, so the pusher has that belief system, if I don't do it, nobody else will. Now, if I don't do it, nobody else will, what does that do to your energy? What does that do to your nervous system? What does that do to your stress levels? What does that do to your whole presence and your being? How does it make you feel, guys in the front? I see you, so I can get to you. How does that make you feel? Stressed? Heavy? Excited? I don't know, being a pusher. Being in that pushy energy is exciting to you? What did you say? It is exciting to you? Okay, well, you're not a pusher then. If it's exciting to you, my love, I don't think you're pushing. I think you're motivated. There's a difference between motivation and pushing. You with me? Because listen, I didn't sit on my ass to write 7 books in 8 years. I took action, which is what I'm going to teach you today, how to take action with that forceful power behind you. So I think she's motivated. But if I was pushing and controlling and trying to force things to happen, guess what? Publishers wouldn't want me to write their books. People at Nu Skin wouldn't ask me to speak on their stages. That energy deflects opportunities, particularly as salespeople, right? You know, believe it or not, I'm in the sales business too. I sell books, right? But I believe that I don't sell, I share. When you have a product or a service or something that you believe in deeply, you don't have to sell it. You just show up and say, this is how this has changed my life. This is how this has served me. This is how this has impacted my well-being. So being in that energy is very different than pushing. With me, everybody? So I want you to check yourselves right now and see in what ways, maybe if you're taking notes, you can write it down. In what ways am I pushing my sales? In what ways am I pushing my manifestations? In what ways am I pushing my husband? The men in the room are like, yeah. In what ways am I pushing? In what ways am I controlling? So that controlling, pushy energy is not attractive to others, to humans, to the universe. You may even think that, oh, I'm just sending an email, or I'm, just putting a post up on my social media. How could that be pushy? Energy is behind everything, my friends. Everything. So if there is a form of pushiness coming behind that energy field of that tweet or that Instagram post or that email, it will be felt. And you know it. You've seen those people where you look at their posts and you're just like, ugh. Right? You with me? You know. So I want you to really begin to tune your energy and tune your frequency so that that's not how you sell, you share instead. You share, you offer, you contribute. You are so psyched about what you do that you can just get up on the stage. Like I can get on an interview and be like, everybody should read my book, it's amazing. Because I believe that. And I think that, in many cultures it can be seen as very conceited to be like that. Well, it's conceited when you're in an energy of pushing. It's not conceited when you're in an energy of alignment. You got me, everybody? Good. The next worry block is through judgment. Anybody show up here today and be like, oh, there's that girl. Or you're looking on the internet and you see somebody that's, doing something big and you're like, that could never be me. We judge often because what we dislike in others is a disowned part of our own shadow. Not only do we judge what we don't like, but we judge what we do want. Often what we're judging in others is a reflection of what we want to create in our own life, and they represent the misalignment. So instead of judging, we have to learn how to recognize the gifts in others as a reflection of who we are. Write that down. I recognize the gifts in others as a reflection of who I truly am. And take that in and listen to that. Because when we're judging, again, how does it make you feel to judge? Come on, people. Front row. Yucky. Okay. Low vibe. Yeah, what else? How else does it make you feel when you're in judgment? Judgment of yourself. How does it feel when you're judging yourself? Bad. Empty. Good one. When we have a judgmental pattern going on and ruling our lives or ruling our work, we are often getting ourselves into the spiral of just not feeling good. Now, to be a super attractor is about feeling good. Doesn't mean that we're going to feel good all the time, but it means that we're devoted and committed to it. The final block I want to recognize is fear. We all have a fearful story that we play on repeat. Fear of the future, fear of the past, fear of inadequacy, fear of lack, fear of not being good enough, fear of being unworthy. You all know your fears, correct? You're quite familiar with them. They're on repeat, 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 repeat. Those fear-based belief systems are a major block to our super attractor power because it doesn't feel good to be in fear, because the energy of fear is stagnant, the energy of fear is stuck, the energy of fear is frozen. But to be a super attractor, we have to have a clear through line for our energy. We have to have an allowance of what it is that we desire to move through us. So fear is a big, big block. In this book, I said something really bold. I said, the fastest way to start feeling good is to decide to stop feeling bad. Now, some of you might just be like, that's offensive, I don't like that. Because how could I decide to stop feeling bad if my family member is suffering from a condition? Or how could I decide to stop feeling bad if I'm dealing with a mental illness? Or how could I decide to stop feeling bad? Well, I can speak extremely authentically to this concept today. Just about 7 months ago, I was diagnosed with postpartum depression, anxiety, and insomnia, to the point where here I was having authored 7 self-help books, and I was having suicidal thoughts. And so every single day when I would wake up, how could I, in that darkest low of my life, how could I decide to stop feeling bad? Each day I would say the simplest shift. I would offer myself the opportunity to choose the next best feeling thought. I would reach for a thought like, I can call that friend that's a psychiatrist and that person can lead me to the next person I need to talk to get me help. I could say, I had an extra hour of sleep last night. I could remind myself that my son was healthy and well. So even in the darkest moments, we can reach for the next best feeling thought. And that thought can be as simple as, I have food on the table today. So this is a method that I want to teach you because we have these blocks that we've identified, but in order to get back into our super attractor power, we have to reorganize those blocks. We have to start to see them differently. So who's ready to reprogram your belief systems today? Good, here we go. So you all have an opportunity right now to practice a principle called the Choose Again method. I'm going to invite you to practice it with me today. I might even workshop some of you if you're very excited. I know the front row will be standing up and running to the stage. So we have these thoughts, we have these belief systems. Take a moment if you're journaling, you can write down what is the most pressing issue that is up for all of you. What is the story that you keep repeating? What is the biggest block to your super attractor power? And just get intimate with it for a moment. And the first step of the Choose Again method is to notice that thought and notice how it makes you feel. How does that thought make me feel? And so if you guys can tell me for a moment, when you think about that thought, how does it make you feel? Lousy. Again, it lowers your energy, makes you feel funky. Okay, the second step starts to change it. The second step is to forgive yourself for having the thought. What happens is when we have a thought that we keep thinking, it becomes a belief system. And that belief system affects the way we work, it affects the way we live, it affects the way we love, it affects the way we feel, experience our body, everything. So what we need to do is reprogram the thoughts so that we can then adjust the beliefs. And when we adjust the beliefs, we begin to attract what we desire. So that second step of forgiving yourself for having the thought pretty much says, I am not that belief system. Oh, there's that negative thought again. It's not me. I'm good enough. That's not me. The third step is the most fun and profound step, and I'm going to workshop this with somebody in the room so we can see it in real time. But that third step is to choose the next best feeling thought. So remember, I was in that low of the postpartum depression, and I'm forgiving the thought every day. And then I say to myself, I have soup waiting for me in the kitchen. My son is healthy. I have support. I'm reaching for the next best feeling thought. In that moment, I couldn't reach from I'm depressed and suicidal to I'm perfect, happy, Gabby again, because I wouldn't believe that, right? You got me? But if you reach for the next best feeling thought, you can guide your way out. This is a practice I do multiple times a day. I have it on repeat because what it does is it keeps me in the alignment with feeling good. And when I'm in the alignment of feeling good, I am a super attractor who wants to be a super attractor today. All right, so who's got a thought on repeat? Maybe it's a thought about your business. Yeah, we got somebody right here, a brave, beautiful blonde soul right in the front. Let's bring her that microphone and we'll workshop you. Okay, here we go. What's your name?
My name is Alexis.
What's your thought, babe? What's the thought that's holding you back?
In the business, that I'm stuck where I am. I'm in Lapis. They call it Lapis Land.
Lapis Land? Okay, I want to hear your language. Okay. What does Lapis Land mean?
Lapis is where you have 2 or 3 executives underneath you, or brand reps underneath you, and the next step is Ruby, which is 4. So I have 2, and then I have 3, then I'm almost
stuck in Lapis.
I feel stuck in the pattern, like I can't get any more, but it's almost that belief, like I see people that are Ruby or Emerald, and I was talking about this last night with Ashley, and it's like I feel like I'm not good enough. I feel like I can't get there. I feel like they're better, or they're doing it, or they're better than me, or whatever it is, and that I've achieved this, and it's just hard. So I guess I feel that like energy of hard.
Okay, so I'm unworthy, I'm not good enough. I'm in Lapis Land. They're better than me. I got you. These are the stories. It's all the same story, which is I'm not worthy.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's hard.
With that, and I think that I'm not worthy goes into so many different other levels of life, right?
Of course it does.
I'm not worthy in the relationship. I'm not worthy as the mother. I'm not worthy as the whatever. And that energy, like it comes from that place and it goes into your business. So it's not just.
How does it make you feel when you're in I'm not worthy, or whatever the story is supporting that?
I mean, it's like that same story as what you said was like 2.
Correct.
Where you're,
What does it feel like in your body?
Oh, sad.
Sad.
Or,
Fearful. So we've got step 1 right now, which is I feel unworthy, sad and fearful. Let me just honor you for a moment because I believe that you're speaking on behalf of most people in this room. And it's in that realness and that authenticity that real change occurs. So I want you all to watch her and see a very powerful example in this room of what it means to turn these stories around. So you have an old story, a belief system from your past. You're obviously ready to heal it because you got your butt up and took the microphone today.
I've done a lot of your stuff, man. I've done your spirit junkie. I've done all the things. And I feel...
I'm not going to let you talk because you're getting yourself back into the story. So we're getting you out of the story today. Ready? Ready, baby? Step 2. Can you forgive yourself for having those thoughts?
I'd like to say yes.
Okay. Can you forgive the thought?
Yeah.
You can forgive the thought. You're like, oh, that's the thought from when I was 2. Okay. I can forgive that thought. Yeah?
Yeah.
So you can see it as separate from yourself.
Yes.
Yes. This is profound, because if you can see the thought,
it's not me, it's there. It's not.
That's right, my love. So if that's just a thought that I've been thinking since I was 2, it's not who I am. I am not unworthy. I am not separate from these people. I can forgive myself for having that thought, and I can forgive that thought. Yeah. See how, did anybody see the energy just shift in her? Did you hear it in her voice? She goes, yeah. Okay, step 2, we're already making moves. Step 3. So let's say you're I'm in Lapis land and everybody's rising up and I'm not. What's the next best feeling thought you could have after you forgive yourself for having it?
It's okay.
Okay, beautiful. What else could you think?
It can get better.
It can get better. How about this? I've been doing all the Gabby Bernstein things. And they make me feel good, right?
Yeah.
They do make me feel good. And I'm supported by a lot of women who are in pursuit of feeling good.
I am supported by all of the women.
I'm supported. Did you see how tell me more about the support that you have by the women.
I have never found a community of women in my life until I started New Skin that supported me and that loved me and that poured energy into me and saw my vision before I could see my vision before in my life. And I looked my whole life for that.
That voice and that conviction and that inspiration and that connection does not sound like the voice of an unworthy woman. You with me, my love? So I want you out of the story of they're all rising up and I'm not. I want you in the story of they are helping me rise. You with me? Can you see the difference? I am supported, I'm loved, they are helping me rise. I know that the better I feel, the more I will attract. I am a super attractor. Are you with me today, my love?
Yeah.
Yes, I believe you. I really do. Email me in a month. I want to hear what happens. Okay. Go, girl. All right, I want you to continue that dialogue. Did everybody see how this works? Can you see the transformation in the moment she's sitting here and I'm feeling a newness. In 5 minutes, we can become new. In 5 minutes, we can become new. Everybody got that? And when we start to open up to that newness, we begin to notice even more synchronicity and divine wisdom within ourselves. And one of those practices that I had spoken of earlier that I think is going to really drive home this message for you today of I don't have to be a pusher. I don't have to compare. When we're comparing, we're lowering our energy. When we're comparing, and it's easy to compare in rooms like this, right? We're all big achievers. This is a high achieving room. This is a room of super attractors. This is a room of people that are motivated, that are after a goal. And in that space, we can find ourselves in comparison. We can find ourselves, not necessarily judgment, but seeing ourselves as separate or not good enough. And so in that space, we deactivate our super attractor power. So a practice like the Choose Again method of recognizing that thought, hitting it in the moment, right there in that moment, I'm with that thought, noticing that thought, feeling into that thought, forgiving yourself for having the thought, and then choosing again, reaching for the next best feeling thought. And what I'd like to do with you next time I meet you is when you reach for that next best feeling thought, reach for even more. When you start to feel good, guys, one of the keys to manifesting is to feel even more. You're not necessarily manifesting when you're doing. You're manifesting when you're feeling. So when you're here and in these rooms, feeling motivated, reach for more. When you leave this room today and you go and have lunch, reach for more. Sit with your friends and say to them, oh my God, I love that conversation, and let's talk about it even more, and let's do the Choose Again method together, and let's just get even more excited, and let's hold visions, and let's make vision boards, and let's dream, and reach for more, and reach for more, and reach for more. Don't leave here and get on your phone and start looking at the news. You invested in yourself this weekend. you can step away. You got me? Reach for more. Go to the next best feeling emotion. And that energy and that momentum is what will move mountains. We are all achieving a fraction of what we're capable of, and we can go way bigger when we start to align into what feels good. So, how do we get out of the pushy energy, and how do we start to do less and attract more? How do we start to make action more mindful? And when I say do less and attract more, I don't want to freak everybody out here because you're action takers. But it's about learning how to take that action from a place of spiritual alignment rather than a place of fear. You with me? Because what happens when you take action from a place of fear? Doesn't work. Doesn't work. People can feel it, right? You get pushy, you start controlling, you start trying to make things happen, you start to get stressed. Stressed is the major block. So we want to learn how to take action from a place of spiritual alignment, from a place of connection, a place of being in tune with that presence of joy and inspiration. Early in my career, I developed this method without even realizing it. I was in my mid-20s when I started this career, 25 years old. By the time I was 28, I was wrapping up the manuscript for my first book. I had created this pretty cool new zeitgeist of young women in New York City that were ready to ditch their Sex and the City lifestyle and be more spiritual. That they were putting down the cocktail and picking up the self-help book. So I started to see this movement and this momentum, and I felt this really strong desire within me that this wasn't just going to be for this group of women in New York City, but this was going to be a message that was going to be spread far and wide. And I saw it, I saw the vision, I felt it, and I knew that I had to take action towards creating that momentum, but I didn't want to push it or force it because I knew that I would blow it. So I just tuned into how good it felt to be doing this work. I tuned into the desire to grow the message so that I could be a force of inspiration and service in the world. So my desire was backed with love and service. Then there was a lot of faith. I believed deeply in what I was doing. Just like when I stood here before and said, go read my book, it's amazing. That's not attitude or ego, that's faith. That's certainty. And I was living with that certainty very early in my career because I believed that the work was serving others. And so when you know that your work is serving others, you can have faith and certainty that you are on the right track. You with me, everybody? Good, okay. So those are the methods behind taking action. And so I saw around that time there was this article in the New York Times, on the cover of the New York Times Sunday Style section, about these food bloggers who I was actually friends with. They were writing about restaurants, and it became this trend. And these food bloggers were featured in this cover of the New York Times Style section, and I was so close to them that I knew that this really put them on the map. It launched their careers, it gave them financial backing, it gave them all the things that they were waiting for, this one article. And so when I saw that article, I was like, that's what I want, that's what I need to put my work on the map and help it be seen by far more people. So I ripped out that masthead, and I put it on what I refer to as a vision board. And if you're not familiar with a vision board, it's like a big board that you would put up that holds your visions of your dreams. So you could see yourself being at the next level at Nu Skin, or you could see yourself being in that romantic relationship, and you put images and words that represent that. So on my vision board, I put this masthead of the New York Times Sunday Style section. About a few months later, I got the hit, I should just pitch the New York Times. I had a background in PR prior to being a spiritual teacher. I had a Rolodex at the time, I'm not even kidding, like a spinny Rolodex, which many of us had. And so I spun through my Rolodex, and I remembered that there was this one contact I had at the New York Times Style section, and his name was Alan. So I felt really committed and connected to the message that I wanted to get to the world. I knew that it had to be in the style section. I picked up the phone with so much faith, so much inspiration, so much love, so much service behind my pitch, and I called Alan. Alan picks up the phone. Hello. Hi, Alan. Alan, it's Gabby Bernstein. I met you at a dinner in Soho last year. What do you want? You know, Alan, I have a really quick pitch for you. It's awesome. Let me just tell you what it is. It's all the girls who used to want to be like Carrie Bradshaw, now want to be like Dr. Wayne Dyer and Marianne Williamson. Interesting. I'll get back to you. I got an interesting. So many people not in an aligned place would hear interesting and think, okay, now I have to push for that. Now I have to force for that. Now I have to make that interesting happen. Anybody been in that position? Salespeople, everybody's like, oh yes. Okay, when you get an interesting, that's when you need to practice this next part, which is patience. Because if you push, you will deflect. So here I was, and I was like, I got an interesting. Okay, I'll just be pleasantly persistent rather than pushing. So every so often, maybe like a month went by, and I'd reach out to Alan and I'd say, hey Alan, here's a little bit of an update on this trend that's happening. Here are some more people that are doing it. This can really help you inform what this movement is doing. And then he wouldn't respond, and then maybe 2-3 months later, he'd write back and say, tell me a little bit more about what's going on, and I'd respond. It was very gentle dialogue, and it went on for several months. Then 2 months before my first book was meant to be published, was about to be published, I get this phone call from Alan. It's Alan. The New York Times picked up your story. I'm going to be at your apartment on Monday night. See you there. It's happening. I manifested the cover story of the New York Times Sunday Style section. So Alan shows up at my apartment that Monday night, and he has a photographer, and he's in the background taking notes. And Alan's, being a fly on the wall while I'm leading a group coaching workshop because he's there as a reporter to experience the moment. So he's taking notes, they're taking photographs. Then by the time that whole part ends, everybody leaves my apartment. I was now sitting by myself in my apartment with Alan, and he's interviewing me. At the end of the interview, he walks over to my vision board, because when they're interviewing you, they're checking out all the details of your home and all this stuff. And he looks at my vision board, and he points to that right corner, and he says, what's this? I said, Alan, I've been manifesting this story for a really long time. This is, I saw this placement in the New York Times style section, and it was about my friends that were food bloggers, and I just wanted that for myself. Alan looked at me in shock. He said, I wrote that story. So not only had I manifested the exact placement that would be the catalyst to launch my career, but I also manifested the exact same reporter. These synchronicities and this guidance and this manifestation is the creation of something that was launched with what I refer to as the spiritually aligned action method. Are you ready to learn it? Yes. Before we get there, I'd like to see a show of hands. How many of you feel that you're taking action from a place of fear? This is not a hand crowd. How many of you feel like when you take an action, you're frustrated because you're not getting the results you want? Good, more hands. And when you don't get those results, what do? What? Panic. What else? Now you're talking. What are you saying to me? Redirect. Okay, what else do you do? Push harder.
Whoa.
What happens when you push harder, Mama? It deflects. A disappointment. So here you are. You've taken action from a place of fear. It's not working. You're in panic, and you push harder. Y'all with me? Sound familiar? When you're pushing harder, how does that feel? Exhausting. And how do you think you're making other people feel? Exhausted. They don't want to follow you. They don't want to do your work. They don't want to keep up with you. They don't want to buy your products, right? So let's turn this around because I'm going to teach you how to create so much more in your life with less action, more power, and more certainty. You ready? All right, good. So the first step is to make sure that your desire is backed with love and service. Thinking back to the Allen story, remember how I was saying, this mission I'm on, to write these books, to serve these souls, to transform lives, isn't something that I want to do in this local community. I want to do this for the masses all throughout the world. What is it that I need to get there? Oh, that New York Times style section, right? But even thinking about the style section was only possible because I was in that alignment. I could hear that's the next right action. How is it back? How was that desire to get the message out to the world in a bigger way back with love and service? Because I knew that the work was serving. I knew that it made me feel good. I knew that when I felt good, I would bring more good to the world. I knew that abundance was something that I was worthy of. I knew that being in abundance would allow me to put more investment into my business so that I could grow it and I could carry it even further so that I could step away and come to events like this and trust that my business is running without me. Yes? You with me? So my friends, how is your desire to get to the next level with your business, backed with love and service? Write it down, think about it, take a beat right now. And somebody might want to get on the mic and tell me, I don't know. Anybody want to tell me how their desire is backed with love and service? We got somebody right here. Look at this man. He stood right, he jumped up.
Hello everybody, Ryan Chapman.
Popular guy.
I love everything you're talking about, by the way, so really, really good talk and perfect timing for a bunch of us. How does the